What if retirement isn't the end of your purpose, but the beginning of your most meaningful chapter yet? Tune in to Aging Unscripted as we explore the power of purpose in aging. Welcome to Aging Unscripted, a fresh take on what it means to age. Here we challenge assumptions, spark new thinking, and explore how aging can be lived with purpose and possibility. I'm Jill Vitale-Aussem, and I am privileged to serve as president and CEO of Christian Living Communities, a Colorado nonprofit based in Denver. And in studio with me today is our co-host, Pam Sullivan.
Hello, everyone. Good to see you.
Pam is our vice president of communications and philanthropy. And we're super excited to have with us today Kristi Doan, who is a community builder with the Eden Alternative. Welcome, Kristi. We're thrilled to have you here.
Thanks for having me.
In the Eden Alternative, we have been partners with the Eden Alternative for many, many, many years. It's an organization, a nonprofit organization focused on creating cultures that disrupt loneliness and helplessness and boredom. And the Eden Alternative principles have made a huge impact on our organization, are really the root of our culture. So we are thrilled to have you here. Thank you, Kristi.
Excited. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, this topic is so near and dear to the work that Eden does and myself personally. So,
well, say more. Let's keep that going. Let's talk about, what does that mean, purpose in aging?
Yeah, purpose in aging. I mean, we actually have meaning as one of we're a principle-based organization. So there are 10 principles, and meaning is actually a big piece of principle 6. So it is woven into the very lifeblood of who we are as an organization, what we teach people to do, and what we want to honor for people as they age. And it also is so tied in. The other piece of what we do, our approach, is 7 domains of well-being. And meaning is actually one of the 7 domains of well-being as well. So
it's core to everything.
It's core to everything, right? And meaning and purpose are so intertwined. I was thinking a lot about both of them and then the differences between them on my drive over, actually.
Well, what were you contemplating?
Yeah.
Share that with us.
Right, yeah. So meaning, right? When something is meaningful, that could be whether it's a feeling, a thought, an object, it could mean that there is something that you're doing that is meaningful as well. But purpose for me almost brings that higher calling in, right? Where you're talking about something of why am I here on earth? Why am I here in life? Why am I interacting with the people that I'm interacting with? So it takes it so much deeper, right? And so for me, it was almost like you need both. You need to have meaning in your life and having that purpose, that there's that like other being or other person.
It feels like that, doesn't it? That something or someone is depending on you, right? You have a reason, you got to get up in the morning.
Right.
Well, and when purpose is removed from someone's life, and I think so often that we look at people as they age, that they're in a declining and can't do as much. And so we, well-intentioned, trying to help people, take purpose out of their life.
Right.
And what's the harmful effect when purpose leaves somebody's life?
Right. And there's even this almost cultural piece for us that when you hit a certain age, you've earned a right to do nothing.
Right. We were talking about
yes.
We're retiring, I'm going to do nothing.
You stop doing all the things that are meaningful and bring you purpose in life.
Yeah. And that also impact your lifespan and your health, right? And so it's bizarre. It should be more like you've retired, you've earned the right to do everything.
Right. Do the things that you want to do, not those things that your boss tells you to do. Not But true, right? That it's not that I have to get these deadlines done. It's what fills me up? What brings joy into my life? How can I lean in more in the ways that are purposeful and meaningful to me? Yeah. You've got more time to do that.
I saw it really play out with my mother-in-law as she lost her vision. Yeah. She was the caregiver to all of us, and her big role was always to cook the meals. Yeah. And when she couldn't read the recipes anymore, she just kept saying, I have no purpose. I'm useless anymore. And she would sit in the corner. And so I'm like, okay, you can still do a few things. So you're not in charge of the whole meal, but you're in charge of this part of it, right? Yeah. Because it was just sad, and it broke my heart that life was taking her purpose away. So what do you see? What do people have to be wary of? I mean, you want to have purpose in your life, but if you don't have purpose, what's the downside if you don't?
Wow, that's a huge question. So And my brain went a few different ways with that.
Right.
So it's, I really want to honor the beautiful thing you did alongside your mom, which was, let's take this big thing that brings you purpose, this big task, making all the meals, and break it down into smaller bits that actually work for you and engage you in a way that you are part of this family and you are giving to us. And right, that giving and receiving of care is so incredibly important.
It makes me think a little bit too about as we age, if one of your other domains of well-being is growth, right? And we've got to think about, well, maybe that was my purpose before, and now things that have changed. I need to adapt and keep growing and evolving who I am as a person. And maybe I can't cook anymore, but I can do these things to make a difference. So every time I think about the Eden alternative, I'm like, oh, everything there makes sense.
All of it makes sense.
It all makes sense.
Right. And there's identity. So your mom identified as like a person who cooked, and that's a core thing, right? And if the family can't grow alongside, that's the key thing is this pigeonholing. Yeah, if mom always cooks, well, that's what mom does. If mom can't anymore, well, then that's it.
Right.
Recite meals takes over.
Right.
We close off the ability to be imaginative and figure out what else is there or what else is meaningful for mom, or how do we walk alongside mom to make sure that she still finds that purpose. It can still do those things that are meaningful for her.
Well, and if you don't have it, it really does spin into depression and loss of identity and those things. So you have to kind of leverage all of those, to bring purpose into your life, because without purpose, it just really kind of, I really saw her personality change. Like her whole person changed because her purpose had been either got taken away by her vision or other people put it on her because of that vision loss.
I was thinking about, we had Mark Timmons, who's a volunteer with Dementia Action Alliance, which is part of the Eden Alternative now, which I love. But I remember that conversation we had with him where he was like, and so he was diagnosed with dementia at a fairly early age.
Yeah.
And when he was saying, I was an accountant, and that is not, I can't do that anymore. But that's not the end of the book. Turn the page. There's a new chapter, right? And now he's a poet and a photographer. And
released you.
I didn't know that. Ooh, I can't wait. Okay, everybody, we have to go get Mark Timmons' book.
Absolutely.
We'll put a link to that in the show notes.
Absolutely.
That would be awesome. And so, thinking, gosh, we could just go on. This is going to be a 7-hour podcast, everybody. So this is such a great topic. But I think about senior living organizations, right? And it seems sometimes, not all of them, right? But if people are properly served and entertained, we are meeting all of someone's needs, right? Check. Yeah. And how many times that we have programming, especially I would say in higher levels of living, where we think that things have meaning and purpose, but all we're doing is providing passive opportunities.
Right. Entertainment.
Yes.
You named it early on, right? The entertainment programming. Yeah. It doesn't engage anybody. It might be songs that they enjoy. Great, we've got a singer.
Right. But how do we get that opportunity? So what are some cool examples of meaningful purpose that you've seen?
Oh, my goodness.
I know you've got a million of them.
A million, I know. So I was just talking with a home that there was some kerfuffle around laundry, right? And one particular elder there was like, I love doing my own laundry. I don't want to give my laundry over. Like, that is something that brings me joy.
Now, that would not be me.
It would not be me.
Everybody's different.
Right. Everyone's different, right? That's the beauty of it. And so the home leaned in and said, okay, I wonder who else would actually really enjoy doing their own and having that. They ended up building an entire laundry room that had, washers, dryers, all of that. And they could have their choice, right? If I want to do my own laundry, great. Here's what you can do, right? There's the homes that I met in, there's one in Nova Scotia that I saw at the end of last year. And there was an elder who runs the coffee shop. It is named after her, right? And it was interesting because when I was talking with her while I was there, she was like, yeah, and they made some changes and, I wasn't involved. And I was like, wow, that's really shocking to me because You know, they after his name, like they said, you're a coffee shop. I'm shocked that they, And so I checked in with the staff, and they were like, she's progressing in her dementia, and we have really involved her, in Reiki. She just doesn't always remember it. But the home is coming together to support her in whatever she can do and can remember to make sure that happens for her. Because it's so many, I mean, she was my tour guide. I was there for like a full day, even in the night, and she was my tour guide.
Oh, wow.
Like, it wasn't a staff member. It was you with this person, and she showed me around. And that for me is, it's not entertainment. It's not even an activity. It is, this is it's ownership.
Yes, ownership. And ownership is a big piece of purpose because you own that thing that you have purpose for. And it gives you that possessiveness of my life and that control. I think purpose-filled living gives you a little control, which a lot of people feel like is taking away or
Oh, absolutely, right? Whether they had a choice to move or new or not even.
But it also, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, I'm assuming this is in Canada's version of like skilled nursing, right? In nursing home.
Yes.
And I think about, I might get a little teary with this, right? But because she lives there, it sounds like she's thriving.
Yes.
If she was somewhere else that had a more institutional mindset that was like, you can't do that. No, we don't do that here. Oh, now she's living with dementia. We have to take this away. She would probably close up into herself and give up, right? And that's what we see. Like, if you go in places, sometimes you see that. Yeah. And oh my goodness.
And it's not even in the care settings. It can be in people's house all the time. I mean, on higher for people completely withdrawn into their home, they're not in a care community receiving support yet, probably could benefit from it. But a lot of people just withdraw because now, and then that glazed look of, I have no purpose. Why am I still here?
That's literally her story. She was at home and had ended up at home with her son, and it wasn't a great situation, right? And she was able to move into a community where she thrives now. Yeah. Like, she has growth opportunities, and she's the tour guide, right? And I walked up, and she was eating green beans off the plant that they had planted in their household garden, And I was like, ooh, what you got? It's incredible to see that compared to how much work, genuine work and love goes into building programming.
Yeah.
And if we shifted that to something that is elder driven, right? Or resident driven, whatever word folks want to use, it can be so much more powerful because of that ownership that you named, Pam, and that the staff don't have to work as hard.
Yeah,
because you don't have to build these giant, things.
We have something called a citizenship model at CLC, and it's really all about that, right? Is that we co-create this community. So everyone has a responsibility and a piece to it. And when you cut a piece out of co-creation, it's not authentic. It's not truly the community for the community. And I think that's really important. I think back to, way back in the day, a meaningful engagement was, here's a pile of napkins, please fold them, right? And they were contributing to dining. Right?
But then you would take them away and mess them up again and give them back to the person, which is just gut-wrenching.
Right. And they know.
They know.
They know.
Right.
It doesn't matter if they live with dementia or brain change. They know.
Yeah.
Now, there may be somebody who always set the table for the family, owned a restaurant, whatever, and rolling silverware would be very meaningful. But they better see
that would not be me either. I wouldn't do that either.
You would need to figure out, okay, what would be that they sell? But that's a really interesting question too, to say, we've touched on the what is really meaningful to me. What's so important that I want to continue to do it, like your mom, and really make sure that the people around you, your care partners, know.
Right.
And what do you want to let go and keep growing? Like Jill.
Right. And what changes for you? Right. Because we all, hopefully, actually do change as we age. Right. Because if we don't, we have no growth.
Right. Absolutely.
And that is a lifelong thing. It doesn't end at retirement. It doesn't end at 85. It doesn't end at any point. That potential for growth and change and that ties into
impact.
Yeah.
Impact. And go ahead. Well, I was just thinking, with the Eden Alternative, it started in the skilled nursing communities, right, in nursing homes. And there's all that institutionalization that happens, and that's a lot of what we're talking about. And then what Pam said with our citizenship model, even because a lot of what we do, we have all different levels of support, but even in residential living, people can kind of be institutionalized by the hospitality model of you come here, Kristi, come here. You have worked so hard. Now come here and put your feet up,
Right.
and we'll do everything for you. And then also we kind of made the rules here. You know what I mean? And we'll ask for your input on things. And that's not enough either, right? And so I just think about we've got to be communities.
Yes.
We're not hotels. We're not hospitals, which is right where nursing hours kind of thing.
The hangover of regulation. This still there.
Community building is about social fabric and who can bring what and how do we work together to make this a better place. And so I'm curious to hear your thoughts on that with the work that you do at the Eden Alternative.
Yeah, it's so much messier community.
Oh, it's so messy.
Right?
And
Because-
beautiful.
And beautiful because life is messy and our own homes are rarely perfect, no matter what social media shows you.
Right.
That what we build there and our influence over what's around us and all of that. And when you put 100 or however many people living together, no one's going to have the same idea of exactly what that which is supposed to look like or what they want it to look like. And so that whole negotiation between everyone living together isn't easy. You're going to have some conflict. You're going to have some characters. You're going to have vibrancy and liveliness in that. And that, for me, is the exact opposite of where we came from. That hospital, sterile, human beings don't thrive in that type of setting, right? Nothing really thrives.
Well,
Right.
remember, point, no doctors or nothing, but they were only supposed to be short term. You're right. 3 to 4 days.
No thriving for a reason. Nobody
But you're supposed to be healing. We were never supposed to be living in that environment.
Or living in hotels or resorts, right? That's just short term too.
Yeah.
When you're creating home, it is messy. Okay, I have to put on my other hat here. Messy, it sounds like it takes a lot of work, takes a lot of time. Time is money. How do we build efficiencies and affordable communities when it's all messy? And you have data that shows that this approach works. What does the data tell you that the difference this approach makes?
Yeah. So we have a return on investment summary. It's available. We can pop
What's your website?
The website is edenalt.org.
Excellent.
Great. And then you do /ROI. And then we'll link to that.
The
We'll
black
link to
hat, yeah.
Yeah, and we actually said, okay, people, owners care about money. You need money for the mission, right? You have to
mission. Exactly.
You have to keep your doors open. And how much money do organizations spend on turnover?
Yeah.
Retraining people, right? This may not be the exact figure, right?
Mhm.
But between 2017 and 2018, CNAs, the data showed, like national data, is 129% turnover.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, I believe that.
And we feel that. We've all worked in communities.
Care,
And it's
quality.
Great, you don't have a consistent assignment.
Right.
You're in this churn of retraining people. So that alone, investing in how do we change the culture to make it something that people want to stay
Do
in?
you see a change in that figure in your Eden communities?
We do. So the data shows statistically significant changes in both turnover for our RNs, for nursing in general, for CNAs, for complaints, right? Which take you down a whole different realm to look at. It's pretty incredible, the data that our Eden members and the folks who have really leaned into changing the culture and making it a place where people want to live and work and have the ownership. That brings it back to ownership, right? People who feel like they are a part of and they have that ownership, similar to your citizenship model. I mean, I think that just takes it that next step deeper. It's so beautiful because we have to have that ownership. Otherwise, we're a cog.
Yep.
And nobody not just the residents, because everything you just talked about is the team members' culture, right?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. I think about team members and that impact, and that is so important, is making it a place people. We had somebody move from Virginia to come, and not in a manager role at Claremont Park. I can't remember what role she was in, but she was like, I'm moving across the country because I want to work in this Eden community. Like, seriously, when does that happen? But anyway, I think about when we offer the Certified Eden Associate training, which we've been doing now for like 15 years, we never require people to go. and our classes fill up every time. And it's residents and team members, but people, and when we don't have one, somebody will be like,
When's the next?
what is the next one? We need this.
And our board members are going.
And our board members, and you think about how many, for those of you just listening, I'm using air quotes here, how many programs, which the Eden Alternative is not a program, but how many programs come and go, and how much money you spend on customer service training, and let's do this and this program and that program, and they end up being, remember when we used to do that program? And the Eden Alternative as staying power, it's super sticky in a good way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And team members are attracted to it and want to be part of it, which is amazing.
With wise leaders too. You have to have the ownership at that leadership level as well to make sure, right? Otherwise you end up with all those broken hearts.
Yes.
Of, oh, we did the thing and then that thing didn't keep going.
So right. Because that is exactly what happens is people's hearts get broken when you have to be all in to do this.
Yeah.
So talk about, community building is messy. Things can go wrong. It's not for the risk adverse. But we have to quit bubble wrapping life, right? Because that's what happens in skilled nursing. So talk a little bit about communities who are looking at this type of culture change, and how do you guide them through that gut-wrenching part of, okay, if we do this, but there might be risk, and
Especially with purpose.
especially
Well, if we grow these green bean plants,
they might eat them without touching them.
Right.
like how that's a,
Yeah. Or what if, we have plants in here and somebody eats it? Well, then have plants that are edible in your home, right? It's amazing, right? When you get creative and you're like, it feels risky because it feels scary because it's new. And that's that growth as well, that it's hard for anybody to try something new, right? There's a level, some folks love it and they'll jump out of all the airplanes. That is also not me. But it gives us the opportunity to learn and grow together. So oftentimes that conversation starts with, let's talk about how we all feel about it. It might even be getting together in what we call a learning circle to say, what is most scary about making a change, or
About having plants in
having plants in the hallways because an elder really loves plants and wants to take care of them, or what's so scary about having animals or whatever that thing is,
or residents involved with preparing food.
Right.
Well, what about the infection control? Well, then teach people how to do that.
Yeah.
Right. Like there's always, it is. Yeah. I mean, it's scary, especially in skilled nursing with regulations.
Punitive system, right? It's no fault of ours. That's
all
it's very much.
There. A lot of times I feel like and I've probably done this in my career. I always say I'm a recovering nursing home administrator because it is.
And we love nursing.
We do love our nurse. It's sometimes like you can be like, well, the regulations won't allow that. And it's always, what would you tell people?
Wow. So again, my brain went a few different ways. It is, how do we work with?
Yes.
Right? Like it's not a let's toss the rules out, or Eden is anarchy, that it is all person driven and that there's no structure or guidelines.
Right.
It is principle-based decision making. Like this is, is it ethical? Does it follow the law? Does it, is it in the best interest of the people who are involved? Is it fiscally responsible, right? All of those things come into it. It's just, we have to figure out how, and each organization is different. So I love that you said it's not a program, which folks love a program to plug and play. Yes. This takes some work because it's going to be different for every single home. And y'all have multiple homes and they all do it differently.
And they all do. Yeah. We've been doing this for 15 years. And if you talk with any of our communities, they'll be like, we're not there yet. I mean, we've made huge progress. Right. But the better you get, the more you're like, we could do better. Right?
We could do this more.
So awesome.
Yeah. And honoring that journey, though, celebrating those wins because they are so important to celebrate and to be joyful about the things that have happened. Yeah. But it's how do we work with it? Again, I know this is Canada, but one of the homes in Nova Scotia is like known by their health department as, oh no, they're calling us again. Like, what else do they want to push the boundary on? What else do they want to try? And it's lovely how they say yes and.
Yeah.
What else could we do? Or, we have a law around everyone has to have a fire blanket. And they were like, do you know where that came from? And I was like, I have no idea. They said, well, people used to be able to smoke in bed way back when. And so, the fire blankets helped protect people.
But
valid.
No smoking.
But there's no smoking now. And yet that regulation, so they're like, these are the things that we're going to push in our thoughts. Like, how do we be part of, and there are going to be homes that are, yes, how do we push back and how do we say this needs to change? And
But partnering with who they're all the regulators are trying to do their best too, right? Yeah. So how do we work with them? Yeah, that's
absolutely.
I love it.
I think you guys could go forever.
I know we could.
And I was just thinking, wait, and how do I tie that back to purpose? And it is all related, genuinely, right? And they actually had elders write letters, right? And to the health department and say, why is this still on the books? Like, why is this a regulation? These blankets are awful, Right. So it's bringing in and having ownership of making change.
You bring up a really good point. We're all working with the Medicaid cuts right now.
Yeah.
You have people in your communities who are very well versed, and they may not even be a Medicaid recipient, but they care about it. Let's have those people be our advocates. It doesn't always have to be the CEO. Love you, Bill, but we want your letter too.
But you're so right. It's much more impactful.
It is much more impactful, and it's not everyone's cup of tea. Right. But who are the advocates in your community?
And they will have support their neighbors, right? They care about the people that have been sitting next to them at the table for a few years. Or that neighbor that lives right next door. They care.
Yeah.
Well, and think about too with the it's Medicaid cuts, right? And that are challenging for assisted living and skilled nursing. And also we have challenges where, there are a lot of people can't afford senior living.
Right.
But we've got all these people who have skills and passions and talent. And how, like I was thinking about Day Spring Villa, which is assisted living, and you've probably been there, I'm sure. But that community, there's a men's group, and they take care of keeping the property up. Right. And I think they were helping to paint rooms.
Well, they
turned over because they
want
to be part of it.
It was like this one thing they started with, and they're like, well, we really want to do this. We see you struggling with this.
Yeah.
Can we help with this? Let us help with this. It's that reciprocal care. It is that pride in communities, that ownership of community.
Yeah. And so that's real purpose. Yeah. That's not a sense of purpose.
No.
It's real purpose. And also in a community with a super tight budget, when we engage everybody there, look what we can accomplish versus everything must be, done by, the maintenance guy, who there's one of them, right? Because it's such a small community and they just don't have the budget. So it ties into a lot of things, right? Is how to, maybe we can create a whole new model.
There you go.
There's the narrowing, right?
We'll get right on that.
And you talked about bubble wrapping, right? Yeah. People. And you think about that and you're giving power tools and all sorts of things, right? To people who have used power tools and tools their entire lives.
Right.
Why would we not?
Because of the cost, the threshold of
because they are now this age, right? Because they're now in assisted living or they're in skilled care or they're, that they automatically now have lost the skill, like your mom example too, that now at a certain age, nope, sorry, you've lost this ability to do, rather than, okay, what can you do?
Right.
And how do we support you in that? And could there be an incident?
Yeah.
And an injury? Yeah.
Yeah.
But your trade-off is lack of purpose.
Right.
And depression. And what is life worth? Yeah, life is not worth living anymore. And why would we want to do that to the people that we love? Why would we want that to be done to us?
Right.
Yeah,
as
absolutely.
we age. Nobody wants that.
No,
that's when there's that stigma of going into some kind of support rather than the vibrancy that it can be.
I remember when I was at Claremont Park, when I used to be the executive director there, I remember a resident was out deadheading the roses and she fell.
Yeah.
And she got hurt and she had to go to the hospital. And we were like, ooh, do you still want to keep doing this? And she's like, yeah, you better not take this away from me because it matters.
Yeah.
It's what I do here and it's how I make a difference. And but it takes, because it can get a little scary. So, and that balance of purpose, and it's not throwing everything out the window, like you said, right? It's not a free for all.
Right. Yeah.
Eden is not anarchy.
Is that the close that Cowboy sticker?
Well, I want to encourage anybody out there listening to go to the Eden Alternative website and check out what's available. And you also have your online learning. You have some free opportunities on there. And it's life-changing. We have people say it all the time when they go through Certified Eden Associate training. And we want to thank you so much for being here with us today. And is there any last words you want to share with people about purpose?
I think that it was just said just a moment ago was we would not want that for ourselves. We know the pain of loneliness, helplessness, and boredom. We've experienced it. You look at the pandemic and,
Yes.
and I think a lot of us got a healthy dose of what that can really feel like.
Mm-hmm.
And so why would we want that for anybody else? And not that we want it, but why would we create a situation where that could happen?
Where it could exist.
Right, where it could exist. And again, all of us come into this work because we are loving, caring, open-hearted people. And so that alongside with what you mentioned earlier too of how do we help people walk through this path, right, through this approach and this change is honoring the hard feelings that come along with it, but knowing that we're building what we would also want for ourselves. And we would treat pain, we would treat injury, we have to treat the human spirit. And that has to be a part of it. And purpose it's lifeblood, truly.
Oh, I love that. Those are perfect parting words. Thank you so much.
Perfect.
Thank you so much for being with us. Thank you for all you do.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
We so appreciate our listeners and our viewers joining us today also for Aging Unscripted, a reminder that aging is indeed unscripted. Please subscribe on your favorite channel and share with your friends and family. Each of us has a journey that is as individual as we are. Not everyone receives the gift of aging, and elderhood is a time of life that should be honored and celebrated. Thanks so much for being with us.
Thank you.